I'm Kitty.
And I'm Max.
And this is
a
Dango
bonus
Duo
episode.
999. I like how we did not coordinate.
Yeah, we actually did not at all.
Whatever.
99 Dango Duo bonus episode.
Look, it's Zero.
Yeah.
We found it.
We found him. He was on the official web page for 999.
Right in front of the gigantic.
So, as I mentioned, we finished 99. It is formally over. We have 100% of the game. Got the truest ending.
Twirl.
Kitty totally didn't cry.
Twirl for wheels.
And now we are here at the answers page. Literally a Q&A with the developer, with the lead story guy, to explain a bunch of things that really you didn't get across in the translation or the story in general. Kitty actually asked me a bunch of questions, most of which I actually answered here.
Yeah.
So the format is, you're gonna ask the question.
Okay.
It's usually the person with the question mark 0, and I will give the answer.
Cute.
Warning! This page contains serious spoilers for the plot of 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. You would be wise to finish the game completely. Before you proceed, if you do not, the consequences may be unpleasant. Beneath this lie, the answers you seek. So,
Cute.
Are you ready?
Ready.
We have a lot to go through. You can look at this bar.
Oh, I see it.
Answer. Here you go.
Question number 1. Were you guys influenced by Capcom's Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney series?
Not entirely, but perhaps I was influenced some in the sense that Phoenix Wright has allowed Japanese gamers to rediscover how fun an adventure game can be.
I'm gonna do all these in different voices. Do you guys have any plans for new visual novel games?
I have nothing
I can announce at this moment, but it depends on how well 999 does. Ha ha. I think there may be the possibility of a sequel. We're completely depending on fan response though. If you guys can mention 999 on blogs, Twitter, etc. and spread the love, that would be great. Thanks in advance.
That's adorable.
I know. Question number 3.
Where did Santa and Jill go after the true ending?
We're in there.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's possible that what went on in Building Q might have just been the prologue to an even larger scheme. If that was the case, then you could say that they were heading off to prepare the rest of their plan after the true ending.
Given Gentaro Hagu's obvious instability, why was a load gun placed in the coffin? Whose use did Akane intend it for? Just Santa, since he was in on it?
Akane had seen everything through Junpei's eyes 9 years before. If she didn't recreate the situation exactly, then she wouldn't have been able to save herself as a child. That's the reason for the gun, and why it was loaded.
She had to recreate everything exactly how it was.
Even if it was dangerous.
Question number 5.
The characters in the games are really well done in this game. I'm just curious to how you developed them all so well. What do you think first? Player characters? How do you know they're complete? Where do you draw inspiration from?
Objection!
Jesus.
For me, I first start by creating a rough draft of the characters' personalities. Then I make a sort of rough draft of the setting. Next, I figure out the twists for the story and work towards by coming up with a plot that fits that particular plot twist perfectly. So the twist comes first, basically. Of course, the characters and the setting that I come up with early on almost always end up drastically changed. Let me just highlight this so I know where I'm at.
Oh, Jesus.
I write a rough draft, then draw a little, then erase my rough draft, then draw a new line. It's just that process over and over. I don't know when it's done until I finish writing the whole script. I usually write my stories thinking, I wonder what's going to happen to these guys afterwards. Overall, I don't change the twist, but I will change the story a lot to get to it. So far as inspiration goes, all that I can say is that it mostly comes from me. While I'm writing my drafts, I believe that when I concentrate very hard on writing, all of my worldly thoughts just go away, so perhaps that has something to do with it. Also, this particular idea is in the game as well, but I need some danger to have a moment of clarity and inspiration. The closer I get to a deadline, the more I'll think, crap, that deadline is coming. And that helps me come up with great ideas. So I try to work myself into a corner like that. And I also have the product manager and other people on the team to help me out by getting me into that mode of thinking.
That's fair.
That's funny.
Are there any plans for the expansion or sequel, possibly on the new Nintendo 3DS?
I have nothing I can announce at this moment, but depending on how well 999 does, I think there may be a possibility for a sequel.
Oh, that's the exact same response.
Yeah, it's actually the same response.
Okay.
Later on, he's like, please reference to this answer that I already gave.
That's fair.
Number 7. These are all fan-submitted questions, by the way.
That's cute. Why was Lotus in the second nonary? Why is Lotus in the second nonary game and not Nona?
I mentioned this earlier, but Akane's intent was to reenact the future that she saw through Junpei's eyes. She saw Lotus, so she chose Lotus to be part of the second nonary game. If you don't care for that answer, then you can think of it as she needed Lotus in order to solve the puzzle in the laboratory room.
Lotus was a programmer once. Why is she just like a dancer? What's her current occupation?
Well, she's currently supporting herself as a freelance programmer. The reason why she's dressed as a belly dancer is because she likes that style. Her hobby is to belly dance, so she dresses like that.
Wow.
It's really,
Yeah.
really hard to understand.
So, Jude's wish was really 9 and Santos was really 0. Why did his wish show 3? Even if his 3 is really an E, would that mean his number is 6E in the math and shit?
Originally, I was thinking of making it E stand for empty as in E equals 0 in this scenario, but it felt forced and I didn't want people to think that, so I cut that part out. By the way, in hexadecimal E is 14, and the digital root would be 5. They made a mistake in their math.
Heh, cute. 999 is definitely one of the best games on the DS, bar none. What other visual novel games, DS or otherwise, would you recommend?
Well, apart from 999, we don't really have any other visual novels that have been localized in the US.
I'll have more, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
We might consider releasing some of our other titles in the US if 999 does well.
And fan report.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. 11.
How did you come up with a wide variety of puzzles in 999? Did you think of puzzles or stories first?
Well, for the puzzles, we collaborated with ORG. Note, ORG is a Japanese company that helps other companies with games or game-related projects. My role was to present a guideline, participate in the brainstorming, come up with the message behind the puzzles, and supervise the overall process. I did come with a few of the puzzles on my own, but for the most part, ORG and Kaneko, one of our team members, came up with them. As far as the structure goes, the story comes first, then the puzzles. For 999, I had them make puzzles that fit the story and the setting. I was really particular about coming up with puzzles that fit the themes of 999 the best.
What are your inspirations for the story? Would it have been possible for me to make an unique ending with a system other than the DS?
This game was designed specifically for the DS because of its unique interface. The DS has a top screen and a bottom screen, and I thought to myself, what can I do that utilizes this unique setup? The result I came up with was 999's Twist, so no, it wouldn't have worked on any other platform.
Hence, I don't know how re-releases.
I don't know how they re-released it.
So, what exactly is the true ending all about? How can June/Kana be alive during the nonary game, yet be dead from 9 years earlier? And why is the final puzzle upside down? Is it supposed to be that you're seeing the last puzzle from Akane's perspectives?
I love that you're literally doing what the Q&A voice would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a lot of these sorts of questions in Japan too, but I want you to think about it from another perspective. If, hypothetically, the story 999 is about Akane dying 9 years ago, and Santa coming up with this whole plan to save his sister's life, then what happens if Junpei does save Akane 9 years in the past? Does she suddenly materialize in front of everyone? Or will she just appear in some remote location? Wouldn't that be even stranger? If that happened, then what was she doing those 9 years since the first nonary game? It seems to me that she would have had to exist somewhere, huh? Then it's only natural for her to exist in Building Q, don't you think? In fact, don't you think it makes a lot more sense if that's the case? Let's say that right now, you discover how to access the past, and you save a little kitten that was supposed to have been run over by a truck. That kitten would be alive an hour ago, or even 2 hours ago, right? I mean, you saved it 3 days ago. That's what I was trying to portray. Now, in regard to your question about the last puzzle being upside down, my thinking was that the top screen was the future and the bottom screen was the past. So if you solved the puzzle on the top screen, then that meant that Junpei's single-handedly solved the puzzle in the future. That's what I was trying to portray. The example with the cat was not very good, but it's the idea of like it doesn't really make sense for her to just disappear and appear.
Yeah,
it makes more sense that she just exists.
She was there,
and this is not the true scenario, but he's just like, think about it like this. Mm-hmm. No, she was alive the whole time.
Yeah.
Wait, can you ask me? Yeah, no. June was alive the entire time.
Yeah,
and she was
asked that
recreating the events of what happened.
Yeah.
To make sure that there was not a time paradox.
Yeah, which makes sense. Why did they put Alice at the end of the real ending like that? Also, why wasn't there a cool CG with Junpei and Akane at the end?
Apparently he got that question a lot.
I would have liked that. That would have been cute.
Was she really Alice? How do you know that? We never really show a picture of Alice in the game. There's an image of her, but that's only what Junpei imagined her to look like when he heard the story about All Eyes. Or perhaps there was an image of how Alice Asakane knew her? You could say that perhaps that image was sent by Akane to Junpei's brain. If that was the case, then what is the physical appearance of Alice that Akane knew? Pretty intriguing, right? Whatever the case, it means that Alice was a person who actually existed. In order to get that across, I decided to have her show up in the ending. As to why there isn't a picture at the end of Junpei and Akane, regardless of the reasons, Akane was the mastermind and her scheme led to the deaths of at least a few people. How could she show her face to them after doing all of that? That's why she's hiding. Also, I mentioned earlier that she was able to go, that she had to go to begin preparing for a larger thing that she had planned.
Okay. Why is Juna sad? She places a bomb in the Knife Man and Nagisa Nijisaki, yeah.
Nagisa Nijisaki is one of the people who killed her in an alternate history. She's the sort of woman who will do whatever it takes to achieve her goals, even though she seems like a nice girl. She's always plotting rather cold things, honestly. She would easily kill someone if she needed to. Her personality is a result of what happened to her 9 years before. Perhaps there were things that happened on that ship that couldn't be shown in the actual game.
More reasons to hate Ace.
Yeah, that's fair. So, how long did it take you to write the actual script of the game? I imagine it would take like a lot of extra thought to remove any plot holes and ensure the story all made sense and that kind of shit.
Just double check. I hate when I'm like, am I recording? I believe it took me about half a year. As a director, I was also simultaneously working on the rest of the process of making a game, though I didn't dedicate those 6 months entirely to writing the story. Thanks for the question.
Yeah. I would like to inquire as to how hard it was to write a script for this game, as well as how many words, pages, etc. Also, I'd like to know how an idea like the nonary game came to exist, as well as how each character was formed, and how you decided to write each character would get. I am aspiring to become a video game designer myself, and I'm curious how this game came together, considering how well thought out it was.
Oh, take a deep ass breath. Oh, yeah, it's not actually as long as I thought.
No.
Originally I had a very simple story, which was essentially, there are a number of doors with nothing written on them, and you split into several groups and move forward. Depending on who you split up the group, the ending of the story changes. It wasn't on a ship to begin with, though. It was in a mysterious building. But my bosses said, it's hard for us to visualize the story, we can't relate to it, and it doesn't catch our heart. So I decided to set the story on the Titanic, a location that most of us know about, and is easy to visualize. The rule where each group was determined by the numbers was also formulated at about the same time. We had a number of discussions where people said that this story wouldn't
sell here.
Wouldn't sell, and that we came back with new characters or rules or stories. I kept tackling. It's a little hard because it's about the contracts. I kept tacking on new interesting ideas, and eventually we got our final story. Of course, as I'm sure you can imagine, it was really hard to make sure that everything made sense and fit together, because we'd just thrown so many things in without thinking. It was really quite hard to make it all work. As for coming up with the characters, after I decided to use 9 as the theme, I used the Enneagram for reference. For the character numbers, we just thought about the ending and who went in what group, and worked our way backwards from there. We made a huge chart in Excel and messed around with the numbers there until we got it right.
Okay, so that was my other question that I didn't voice, is like, do their numbers actually have any significance?
Oh, as in like the numbers that people got? I think the only one was literally just Junpei having the same number as June.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And even from a storytelling perspective, that's something you can literally add at the end to have, like, make it be like, oh.
It all connects back, yeah. Was having the characters break their usual stereotypes intentional, or just a natural result of the story?
It was intentional. In school, I was taught that you should use stereotypes to make it easy for people to understand your characters, but then use those stereotypes and people's expectations to catch them by surprise, to get your message across. That was probably what influenced me. I like that. We should remember that for when we do the ends.
I love that shit, yeah. Was Akane or June facing in and out of reality when she had headaches? I was at a loss to understand why she would have existed if she had died in the past.
I guess this is kind of the exact opposite of what was asked in question 13. Yes, you are right. If she was there in the past, that means she didn't exist in the present. So her headaches were there to show that you were approaching a past that couldn't exist.
Except she got a headache right when the 9th man died.
I mean, I think he means more towards the theorists.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, way you could say that's like one of the first forks in the road, you could say. So it's like...
Yeah, that's true. Do Connie and Jumpy ever meet again eventually? I was hoping for a reunion before you cut off at the end.
Read question number 14 about her literally going off to do her own stuff.
What's my ship for the main location of the game?
Read the question about the freaking, how we made the setting.
Okay, so who killed me in the submarine ending? I'm talking about myself now at this point. That's the only one I don't understand, although I admit I might have missed something.
It's actually Ace Gentaro. Lotus's missing bracelet was a hint for you guys.
We're gonna get that in a moment.
What was else in the desert? Wasn't she in the coffin 9 years ago? Where was she the whole time?
Is it really Alice? Question mark.
I like that.
Yeah.
That makes it better.
It makes it better. What if I told you that?
Okay, alright. Well, we're not talking about Blur yet. Why did Seven, Snake, and even Santa insist that Connie had died 9 years before? Yet she was clearly there the whole time.
Well, it appears Santa lied about her death in order to save her. Since Snake was on the ship too, we can assume that he knew the truth about Akane's death as well. If we are going to believe that Seven didn't lie, then we can assume that a fake memory was implanted in his mind somehow. If I tried to explain that in the story though, I was worried people would think I was just coming up with a random excuse, Kojimaing that shit.
Fair.
So I just left it to the player's interpretation. In my case, I think that fucking Seven was in on it.
Yeah.
If it makes more sense to say that both Snake and Seven were in on the plot with Santa and lied to move things along, I'm totally fine with that.
Hey, did they ever catch up to Akane and Aoi in the end?
Nope, they didn't. Junpei goes on to spend the rest of his life chasing after her.
Wow, that's a little dark.
This is not entirely true.
I mean, the sequel. They didn't know they were.
They didn't know. They didn't know. But that isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
That's fucking sad.
It's pretty sad, isn't it?
That's too sad. What are your inspiration when creating characters? Do you like take a niche or a cliche character commonly found in anime and manga and then turn them into a situation by adjusting them in the situation they were in? Or did you take characters from the traits from the game that you had previously made and just put them in this different situation?
I mentioned this in question 17, but I used the Enneagram for reference. Did you just take a niche or cliche character commonly found in anime and manga and put them in a situation by adjusting them to blah 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 blah? Yes, that's exactly what I did. I made a box and put the characters in it, and then the story just progressed on its own. All I have to do is just work towards my twist, so I suppose that for me, the plot isn't really all that important. It's just an imaginary picture. As I write the story, it evolves. The three most important things are these: the box, the characters, and the twist.
What a twist.
That's good, we should remember that.
What a twist. Will you publish 999 in Europe?
I really want to. I guess it really depends on how well it does in the US. Please support us.
I hope it did well.
Yeah. Did it actually get published in Europe?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah.
If not, it's probably on PSN.
Oh, PC
or PC and Steam.
Now. What influenced you the most when making 999? Many reviewers mentioned the Saw movies, but I think there's more in the game than basic horror movies.
Saw is definitely a movie I like, so I would be lying if I said I wasn't influenced by it, but I don't think it played too much of a role. I feel like the movie Saw was influenced by conventional adventure games, so I think the sources are the same. Being isolated somewhere and forced to play a game is a very common setup in Japanese anime, manga, and novels, so there are a lot of stories that use that particular device. I can't really think of a specific title that influenced me, or maybe I'm not allowed to say so,
Yeah,
because
possible.
I'm literally working for a company. But I think a lot of the stories I heard as a child definitely provided the base. So far as the content, I suppose I could call it the uchikoshi flavor if I felt like being arrogant. So you can just think of it as
Uchikoshi.
That probably must be a writer, I guess.
Isn't that his name? He's the director.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he's directing.
is it? Then
himself.
think of it as his style, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's fair.
Ha.
This is about the scene where June connected with Junpei 9 years in the future. Can I safely assume that the world Junpei is in is the future where June saved his life from the incinerator? And then 9 years later, June became Zero to prevent a time paradox. She herself said at one point that she is less than Zero 9 years ago.
You're exactly correct, and check all these other answers to verify.
Are both Seven, who implied that June was killed in the incinerator, and Snake, who said that Akai Kurashiki died in the Dawn First Another game, accomplices?
Pretty much. I want to think of it as that.
What happened in the incinerator? How did June disappear?
In the incinerator, Junpei of the present assessed Akane of the past and saved her. Accessed. The current Akane and June snuck out while Junpei and the rest were looking. Akane disappeared before the door was even locked.
Did I ask you that on camera or not?
No, you did not ask me. Oh, no, I think you were like, where did she go? And
yeah.
we kind of just kept
it was
playing.
off camera then.
Yeah, it was off camera then.
What is the significance of Alice?
She was there to explain the Eyes 9, and to add more to that whole idea of things working together without physical contact.
Makes sense. Is there any end secret not revealed?
I believe all the important parts have been revealed in the game.
What's your favorite part of the game?
Well, I guess my favorite would be the scene between Akane from 9 years before Junpei in the incinerator. I guess you can say that this title was written specifically for that exact scene. I wish that part could have been voiced.
Aww.
Yeah, I know, that fucking scene is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
So, who is Nona's twin? Both she and Nona seem important since Nona means 9 and Nona has a twin, and that's gotta be another spinoff at least. God.
Originally, I intended for Nona's twin to be named Enna, so both their names would technically be 9. In regards to them appearing in a sequel, I'm not sure. I guess if we get many requests like that, it would be possible. I actually don't know if they come back in the later games. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. A part of me wants to look up the cast for one of the later games and check, but that will be a spoiler, so let's not do that.
Yep. Excuse me. If both Aoi and Akane were on the ship and they were both transmitters, then who's the 9th person that should be Akane's replacement in the Nevada building? Is he/she the only one that doesn't have a sibling and supposed to be Akane's receiver?
Of course, there was a girl who took Akane's place. There was some confusion that 2 of them were swapped. That would have meant that at Building Q in Nevada, there were 2 sisters in the same location. So far as Akane and receiving, she was especially good at sending, but that didn't mean that she could only send. She has the ability to receive as well. Of all the children, all the children have both. Some were just better at it than others. And also, Akane is literally way more powerful because she can literally check into the future.
Yeah, I did wonder about that, like what happened to the girl that got switched around.
Yeah.
But I guess they weren't in as much danger.
No, because
Because they just had to save their siblings.
The implied danger was to save their siblings, and
Yeah.
those 2 girls certainly were not. Like,
Yeah, they're like,
yeah.
well, my siblings right here.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. You could almost say that's what triggered Aoi and Akane to try even harder, because they're like, we're both fucked.
Yeah, we're both fucked here.
Yeah. And of course,
Did Safi really have amnesia?
I would say he did not.
So, how hard is it? Was it to come up with 9 distinct people to interact with in various ways as the game progressed? There were times of conflict, times of great emotional stress and whatnot. Creating 9 distinct persons to handle this and talk among themselves with their personalities and quirks seems incredible to me.
Yeah, so, you are right, it was a real challenge. To be honest, though, the 9th man dies pretty quickly, so there were only about 8 characters. But even so, 8's still too many for a single story. The story theory says that you should really only have up to 7 characters. For instance, Luke, Obi-Wan, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, R2-D2, C-3PO. You see, that's 7. If you add in Darth Vader and the Emperor, that makes 9, but I believe Star Wars is a very well-developed story, and the characters are all very solid. What Star Wars uses as a base are legends and myths, according to Young, the fucking guy who wrote The Hero's Journey.
Yeah.
Those myths and legends are born from the human psyche as archetypes. That fits into the enneagram I was talking about in that other question. With that said, the creation of the characters wasn't too hard because I already had a formula to work from that's been passed down through all of human history. To make that actually work, however, was really hard. This story had rules, and it also had specific points it had to hit, so I wanted the characters to do very specific things, but that didn't always cooperate.
They didn't always cooperate.
Yeah. I tried my best to move them in the way that they were designed to, but even then there were times where the story wouldn't work as I sort of had to force them. It was very tiring.
Yeah.
Hashtag writing.
Hashtag writer's quest, writer woes. Jesus, we're like halfway down. So, what was...
this is a question that you wanted an answer to.
Yeah. So when was Ace allowed to live if the end while his cohorts were killed? He seemed to be the biggest monster.
I think it was because he was the person she felt the most animosity towards. Because there was so much hatred towards him, she didn't want to let him die that easily. She wanted him to admit his sins and either be judged legally or even just wanted him to admit his faults in public. That is what I believe Akane and Santa's motives were. If the people involved all died, then the truth would have been lost. I believe they wanted everyone to know about the horrific event they had been forced to take a part in.
That's fair. Was Snake some kind of mutant or something? He seemed to have an inhuman ability strength in the safe ending.
Oh, when he launches out.
Oh, right, and he's like
yeah.
fucking dying as bullets are like
Yeah.
going into him.
A snake has the ability to access the morphogenetic field and the ability to distinguish even the most distinct sounds. You mentioned the safe ending, but are you talking about him being shot to death? If you are, the reason why he kept getting up was his tenacity. His love for his sister Clover made him a Superman.
Superman! Teraki Kubota. Number 9, the ninth man. Who was he? Or to be more precise, I suppose, what kind of person was he? Is he the reason why the submarine was there, for instance? Is the reason why he was in such a hurry to get through door 5 alone? Because he intended to confess? No. Was there any particular reason he was part of our main group instead of the other two?
Teraki Kubota was the only person who was a coward, and went crazy and exploded to death. That personality is why he was chosen as the 9th member. Of course, the most important thing was for Akane to recreate what had happened 9 years ago. Kubota has nothing to do with the submarine. It is believed that the submarine was already there when Ace, Kentaro, purchased the ship from Gordain. There was a submarine in the building in Nevada, so that building Q would be an exact replica of the ship.
So was Lotus originally planned to be Alice? It would have made all the gags about her age even funnier. Ha ha ha.
We didn't really have that in mind. However, I do agree that it would have been funny in various ways had Lotus been Alice.
She would have been even older. Yeah, that would have made the jokes a little better, honestly.
It would have.
Would you consider partnering with Access Games to develop great visual novel titles for release in Japan and the US? If yes, then Access Games will work with the maximum effort to localize your games without flaws.
There is nothing that I can announce just now. Is this literally the same thing?
No.
However, depending on how well 99 performs, we do believe that there will be a possibility. We're completely depending on the response from our fans. If you can spread the love, blah blah blah.
And then also,
I believe that Access did a magnificent job in localizing 999. I am thankful from the bottom of my heart.
Aww.
They did
There's some stuff that must have been hard to translate.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there were some really hard things. But then they did such a fantastic job with, like, the elevator scene.
Yeah.
That one's so good.
I wonder how that was in Japanese.
Yeah. Had he misunderstood life so greatly?
What did the rope Snake was wearing after you rescue him out of the coffin mean? And what did the flags next to the coffin mean?
Well, we sort of made Nagisa and Yosaki wear Snake's clothes. I believe that only other things he would have worn were those ceremonial clothes in Building Q. I think Akane and Santa felt bad that they made Snake naked. As a side note, that ceremonial outfit belonged to Gordain. Back in the day, he and his friends were conducting strange ceremonies in Incinerator. As another side note, the nunnery game wasn't Gintaro's idea, it was Gordain's.
Oh.
He would take young English men who had acclimated massive debts accumulated and force them to play games on the ship. He would enjoy the show with his millionaire friends, and they would bet money on who would survive. All the losers, I don't know if this is actually canon anymore, but all the losers were burned in the incinerator as a sacrifice during the ceremony. After many years of this, Gordain died of his old age, but the games continued. In the final game, Gentaro was abducted and forced to participate. He was victorious and felt that if he could win the game, then he could come up with a better one. He told Gordain's
this doesn't feel very canon.
successor that his fellow millionaires as much. They decided it sounded interesting and they told him to do it. That was what led to the nunnery games. This does explain how he actually found the root in Alice's coffin, though.
Oh, that's
because he was probably being part of this whole thing.
That was what led to the nonary games that happened 9 years before 999. Of course, Gentaro's true intention was to test the theory of morphogenetic fields, but that was the story behind the nonary game. He inherited the ship from the millionaires and hosted the game. That was how he got all the funding as well.
Okay.
In other words, there were millionaires watching the game 9 years before 999 and placing bets on who would live and who would die. Yes, they were truly rotten people. That was also when Gentaro found the mandrake root in the coffin. He used that root to create the drug Superil that made him a millionaire.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how canon that is anymore.
Yeah.
But it sounds pretty good. I don't know if it comes back.
We'll see. In the X ending, did Clover get to escape, or did she die in the incinerator room because she couldn't figure out that 9 was a Q?
I believe she didn't make it out. Well, I mean, after all, she kind of had it coming.
She had it coming.
She killed a bunch of people.
She did kill a bunch of people. Regarding the theory Snake brought up about June and Santa's bracelets, was June really an upside down 9 and Santa's a 0? Excuse me.
This is sort of connected to question 9, but the official answer is yes. However, if we don't stick to the bracelets display, you can also think of June as 0.
That's fair. Was Charlotte Connor controlling Junpei is actually the addition of creating the existing and future as her future self?
Yes. She was just gazing at him and doing what he was doing to get the answers to the puzzles.
Yep. Oh lord. This is interesting. Okay. Was that really a Akane we encountered on the ship's replica? You brought up Lock's socks, but didn't quite seem to tie it back into the way that you did with the morphogenetic fields or Ice 9. So, was that just Akane's mind in some sort of false body?
I feel like this is a thing this
might come
this is
back.
a loose, or this is a loose
thread.
end.
Yeah, because that's fair.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, you brought that up, and it's like, I wonder if this is the one where he talks about the translation team. It is the real Akane. The Lock, Stocks, and the ship of Theseus and John and Lucy ideas that show up in the story are all part of the same theme. What is the true essence of a thing? If you're asking of all these things, how all these things connect to one another, then my answer would be, don't you think it's the morphogenetic field that ties them all together? For instance, the you of 20 years ago is made up of completely different molecules. How are you still you, right? So what I'm trying to ask is, what is the real you? The notion of self is just a fraction of a much larger set of information. So that's part of the morphogenetic field, isn't it? That's more or less what I'm coming from. Whether or not that's true is a different story altogether.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. It does feel like introducing another element that kind of another extra Jenga block on the tower.
Yeah, that kind of doesn't just.
There could have been another way of making that connect more gracefully.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a submarine present in one of the endings. I'm assuming it is used for emergency escapes from the sinking ship. But where does the tunnel from building Q lead to?
Nowhere, boys and girls. If you keep going farther down, it's just a dead end.
Nice.
Oof, Ace was gonna get it real bad.
Nice.
I mean, he did in that ending, because that ending happened.
Yep.
We're almost there.
Cool. My nose is like, there's so much snot.
You want to take a blowing your nose break?
No. Okay. There's a room by the library which you are locked into if you reach it. Is this room present on the ship as well? If it is present, then what is it? Because I don't see much purpose in having the room to build puzzles on in both ships, especially since Alice/All Eyes Coffin can't exist in both rooms.
This room does exist in the ship, because it's a freaking replica. Well, to be more exact, there used to be one. It was just a sort of a study. There was also a coffin, but by the time Gentora opened it, Alice was gone, and all of that was left was the mandrake root.
Right, and then what was in the coffin was actually the keys.
Yeah.
That's fair. As the creators, who were your favorite characters designed, one thing I liked was how by the time all the endings are completed, you really got attached to each of the characters, especially with the safe ending in Snake and Clover.
I guess my favorite would be Akane. My intention was to create the world's worst heroine, but how well did that work out? I think this could be clarified.
Yeah,
not a heroic person.
Right.
She's pretty bad, but there's still some sense of purity in her. I think it's the idea of like,
she did kill a couple people.
Yeah,
but they did deserve it.
Yeah, and
she did set up this game.
I would say anti-heroine.
Yeah.
And she's also noble. I guess you could categorize her as a genius. Her motives are too grand in scale for an ordinary person to ever understand her. I love all of my characters, though.
Adorable.
I like the idea, like, it does make sense. The story is really about Akane.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's like, yeah, Junpei does kind of get pushed on the side.
Yeah.
But
Kind of makes sense.
You know,
though.
which doesn't feel cruel though, because it's like, yeah,
No.
it's like
he was always. They were both always there.
And he said a line. That was a line that he said where it's like, the only thing that matters is saving June.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, remember this.
Mm-hmm. So, Lotus and 7. All the other characters have their real names revealed by the end of this game. I guess this is just a minor detail, but it's really nice to know. What are Lotus and 7's real names?
In the Japanese version, Lotus's name is revealed to be Kashiwabara. It's revealed in the torture room. Her first name wasn't revealed in the game, but I was thinking it would probably be like Hasuki, or Hasuki means August in Old Japanese. Her ex-husband was named Ichiro. Ichiro means firstborn son in Japanese. So that gives you 1, and then the 8 from August gives you 9. That's why her twins were named Nona and Enna. 7, though, I didn't think I ever gave him a real name.
Wow. Poor 7.
7 is a cool last name, though.
It's cool, but... So if there were a sequel, would it be a direct one, or would it be set in a different timeline, like the future of past, or an alternate universe, or a different place altogether?
Let's see how good this answer is. If there were to be one, I would come up with completely different characters and then mix in some of the characters from 99 and build a story from that. Of course, the setting will be them being stuck in a room that they can't get out of. Storyline would be after the events of 999. Of course, this is all hypothetical. This is
pretty much VLR.
This is
as far as I know.
This is pretty much VLR. This is pretty much wow. You fucking knew, didn't you? That's pretty much VLR.
Yeah.
Let's scroll across before Kitty starts thinking.
No thinking. Supposing that Junpei and the Ninth Man actually had a codename for themselves like the rest of the characters, what would they have been?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's cute, yeah.
Well, since Junpei's number is 5, I would have called him Hand because of the 5 fingers on a hand, or Star since the star has 5 points, or maybe Penta from Pentagon. As from the Ninth Man, that would be hard. Maybe Pigeon? In kanji, Pigeon would be the number 9 plus the kanji for bird.
Yeah, cute.
And his hair.
Yeah, and his hair.
That's funny.
That's cute.
That's cute. I like, Junpei being Star.
Yeah. I just want to see if you could confirm or deny the theory that whenever Junpei began becoming feverish, Akane began feeling feverish, it was Junpei heading down the wrong path, and that she was about to be incinerated in the past.
You are exactly right. Please refer to those other questions. And like you said, she gets a fever because she is literally being burned alive in the incinerator.
Fun! I'd heard that the bottom screen represents Akane's perspective in the Donnery game in the past. When Junpei finds a key card with photographs in the cargo room, they're of the current Donnery game participants. That would be impossible if it was still in Akane's perspective, as it shows the participants in Junpei's timeline. Is the inventory the only exception to the Akane's perspective idea?
Very sharp. That was something that was pointed out by our debugging staff. Sorry, if you could make an exception and just say that this was something Akane saw through Junpei's eyes, that would be great.
That's fair.
It does make sense, because if that was in the past, then the people she would have seen in the little
should have been
cards would have been the kids, yeah.
Yeah. What are the actual values of everyone's bracelets?
The other characters have the numbers that are displayed on their bracelets, except for
the ones that we talked about.
The ones that don't.
The ones that don't.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that the 9 characters are based off the 9 Enneagram personalities. If that's true, what character represents which one? Do they share the numbers with their personality?
First off, it has nothing to do with their numbers. The order is totally different in the Japanese translated Enneagram. So I based each character off of my own interpretation and rearranged things a bit. It's not so much that this character fits the Enneagram, at least to my mind. It's still they fit together about like this. It's like the concept of how people are. Achiever, Ace. Investigator, Snake. Enthusiast, Santa. Loyalist, Clover. Challenger, Junpei. Peacemaker, June. Helper, 7. I would almost say the Investigator is 7, but okay.
Yeah.
Individualist, Lotus. Reformer, the 9th Man. On the side note, if you were to compare our 999 characters with the Star Wars characters, it would go like this. Ace, Emperor. Snake, Obi-Wan. Santa, Han Solo. Clover, R2. Junpei, Luke. 7, Leia. 7, Chewie. June. And Lotus, C-3PO. 9th Man, Darth Vader. What? The 9th Man is Darth Vader? Well, I guess we can't make everyone fit.
Yeah, that's fair.
I like that.
I would like to know more about the role 7 played. Was he faking amnesia all along? And was another Zero collaborator? Or can we pretty much take him at face value throughout the game? If we could take him at face value, then what was the smile at the end about? What was his headache at the true and analogous words to Akane's fevers? That is an indication that the course of the events are being altered.
His headaches were because the memory that was being implanted in him starting to show discrepancies with reality. Or faking it.
Yeah.
I prefer the faking it because I don't like implanting memories. That's too Metal Gear for my
Yeah. Coming from a considerably higher resolution PC visual novels in this particular place.
Resolutions.
Yep. I was wondering just how high-res 999's original art assets are, seeing that the 2DS only has a resolution of this.
By the way, this is the DS resolution, by the way.
Woof, that's tiny.
The characters were drawn at 1224 by 678. That's actually fucking huge, by the way.
That's huge, especially compared to the DS.
It means that those sprites are... They might have even used those fucking sprites for the fucking... the Steam re-release.
That's possible. What couples do you folk actually see as canon? Folk. I mean, June and Junpei seem pretty canon, but is there a possibility of Lotus and Seven?
I mean, I believe Seven and Lotus is totally canon. I mean, she's divorced, after all. Nothing's binding her from just tapping that Seven booty.
And she did come around on him.
She did come around, and he came around on her. And then he came... Never mind.
Not in the game, he did not. Probably. How did Seven get his scars? He did not have them in the flashback sequence.
He got them in an accident that took place after the first Nonary game 9 years before, man. I just became...
Waka, what you doing here?
He was battling against a particular powerful global organization.
Okay. If June was in fact Zero. In fact. I say it in Russian.
No, you did, but I'm like, if she was Zero.
Yes. Zeta was assisting her and was responsible for planting. Was she responsible for planting the bombs into Cradle Pharmaceutical Executive? That doesn't seem likely, given how inherently altruistic she is. If not, why did she not abolish Santa when the Nightman blew up? Yes, those
you're exactly
words.
right. I guess you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Pretty scary, isn't it?
So the only ones with actual bombs were the Ninth Man and Nijisaki.
Nijisaki. Yep, those were the only ones with bombs in them. Okay. No one else had bombs.
I mean, we didn't see anyone else explode.
Yeah,
so.
and also when they walked out, they took off their bracelets and none of them had anything.
Exactly.
Just no receiver or anything.
So they did actually. I was more thinking of the opposite way. So those guys did actually. She did actually put bombs.
Oh no,
in them.
Oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
Revenge.
In what year do the events of 999 happen?
The events of 999 take place in the year of 2027. So the first Nonary game would have been in 2018.
9 times 2.
Huh?
And then 9
times 3. Wow, we saw through you, sir. We saw through you.
And then Phoenix Wright takes place in 2009, I think.
Huh?
I don't know why I know that. Oh lord, there's too much text in this.
You sure you want? You don't want a coughing?
I want a break now.
You want a break? Okay, we'll be right back.
Let me clear my nose.
And we're back.
I can breathe. All right. Next question. This has already gone on long enough, apparently. Whoops. How did June and Santa manage to pull off staging the second Nonary game in the first place? How did they manage to finance it, reset/refurbish/ use the facility, and kidnap such big important people on their own? I get the why of it all. It's the how that doesn't really add up for me. And as a side note, just to be clear, was June just acting innocent, or was she actually a much more ruthless person than she portrayed herself as to everyone else?
Well, the 12-year-old Akane saw through the eyes of Junpei 9 years in the future that Cradle Pharmaceutical would suddenly become a huge company. She told her brother, Ayo/Santa, to buy stock in Cradle Pharmaceutical when they were cheap, so they made a ton of money when it was eventually listed on the stock exchange. They took the money and invested in other stocks and increased their fortune. Before long, they were millionaires and eventually formed an organization to help with the execution of their plans. It wasn't just the two of them doing everything, they had dozens of underlings working for them. Santa buying stocks is mentioned in the game within itself as well.
That's true.
The stock market,
That's true. At first I was like, that's dumb. They don't have any money to invest in stock markets because they were poor, but...
We literally saw that today when we were playing.
We did.
And June's innocence.
Less so. How did Clover know the number discovered from Truth Is Gone riddle was for the safe in the piano room behind door 5? She did not go through door 5, and none of the 3 people who went through door 5 told her about it. Also, is there any significance for the 8 8-digit combination number for the coffin?
She found a note Kagechika Musashido had written when he was alive in the captain's room.
Yep.
She learned about the safe in the piano room from him. In the piano room.
Yes.
Which is the piano room?
The piano puzzle.
Oh, yeah, from him. As far as the meaning behind the numbers, I haven't really told anyone in any other interviews, so I'm going to make this just between us. If you take the numbers and multiply it by 9, you get...
All those numbers.
What do all those numbers mean? I'll leave that up to you to interpret.
That's not everyone, actually.
Kitty. Ace. Snake. 9.
Oh, Santa. Yeah.
The people who
That
were,
is everyone. Alrighty.
Yeah, the people who were in are the real numbers actually.
Yeah, they're real numbers.
0.
Yep.
6. Yep.
Except there's no whatever. Yep.
What?
I'm
no what?
That's
That's
no.
June is 0.
And then who's 9?
The 9th man was also 9, apparently.
But there's no 6.
Yeah, because that's
there
June.
was no 6. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Numbers. One tiny question that comes to an individual's ability to transmit and receive messages in the field. Concerning Junpei's abilities, was he born with them, or did he awaken mainly because Akane has such a strong bond with him in the first place?
You are right. It is the power of love.
God damn it.
It's the power of love.
Wow. So, who is this Zero speaking in the ending in which Ace dies in the incinerator? Is it Santa?
You can interpret it as Santa, the person making noise was in fact Santa, or it can be interpreted as Akane speaking directly into Junpei's brain.
I like the first one.
Yeah.
It makes more sense.
Insane in the membrane. Does Junpei realize Akane has risked his life and the lives of 6 others, not including her own, by setting up the second nonary game, or does he simply not care and loves her despite her selfishness?
When he realized the truth, Junpei understood everything. That's why, in the game, we made sure that despite it all being completely planned out, he still had to save her. I suppose you can call it selfishness, but if Junpei didn't save her, then the 12-year-old girl would die. Junpei did have strong feelings for her, yes, but that wouldn't really matter. Even if it were just some stranger, Junpei would have saved her regardless. No matter how he might have been tricked, or put in danger, or murder in alternate history, Junpei would have done the same thing.
Because he's a nice guy. Yeah. What are the heights of each character? What are the measurements for the female characters? I really just, want to know.
Finally, a light question. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. I didn't really give the character specific attributes like that. All I know is that Lotus has big boobs.
God damn it.
That's for sure. She used to live in Silicon Valley, but her boobs are not filled with silicone. They're all natural.
Oh, Lord.
Thanks.
She lived in Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Close-ish to us.
That's good. Yeah, but she's from Japan.
It's fine. What did Snake hear when he paused for a moment in door 5? It was never addressed again.
He was listening to the movements of the team that had gone through door number 4.
That makes sense.
I don't know what they're referencing, but I like that it's literally like, yeah, here you go. This is where.
It was when Snake was like, I'm trying to hear something when they were in the chapel room. Yeah, I vaguely remember. So, since Junpei saved Akane in the alternate timeline, would Junpei find the adult Akane somewhere in the present after the Nevada scene? I would love for them to have a reunion in the timeline that we experienced. They were such a cute couple, and I was so sad that Junpei wouldn't find her after they escaped.
So I apologize for saddening you. Given Akane's circumstances, she had no other choice. There is no reunion in 999.
Yeah.
That ending is the happiest ending it could have been.
Yeah, I guess. I can think of happy.
I
can think of... What if he's like, you know what? I'm okay that you murdered those guys. I love you.
Yeah, but I do kind of feel like, the whole, like, she has bigger plans.
That's fair. But what if her plans could include him?
Yeah, that would be sweet, wouldn't it? Oh, you're making such a sad face.
OTP.
They're pretty good TP.
TP.
Yep.
True pairing.
Yeah, it's a good pee. It's a good pee, kitty.
That's a good pee.
Oh, it is a good pee.
Oh, okay, we're almost done. Is the June that Akane represents herself as during the game how she really is, Or is she kind of more like Ace, just acting and really kind of crazy? And also, it was implied that the group was going to meet up with June and Santa during the true ending. I assume that means the group didn't hold any ill will towards June and Santa.
More Akane's motives.
Yeah.
And I guess we have a lot more of these questions from the US. To be honest, I didn't get many questions like this in Japan. Most of the questions in Japan are about Alice or if Seven was lying. This is so interesting. I could have sworn I wrote Ayakane shall become Zero in the game,
Yes.
but there were a few people who really believed that Santa was Zero. Anyway, putting that aside, as far as how the other 5 feel about Akane and Santa, I'm sure they have pretty mixed feelings. It's true that the bracelets didn't have detonators in them, nor were they actually implanted with bombs, but they were lied to. Still, they were lied to, so that could have, they could have saved the 12-year-old girl, Akane. I feel like they were in a situation where they want to hold a grudge, but at the same time they can't really bring themselves to it, and also 2 of those work for the same people.
That's fair.
The last question.
So, who kidnapped Junpei? I know it's Zero, but who is the person doing all the kidnappings?
This is also something that not too many people know about, but the person wearing the gas mask was actually Akane. The kidnappings were done by her brother Santa, and as I mentioned that in blah 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 blah, she had a number of people from her organization helping her out. That's why the flashback shows Zero, then Akane, then Zero again. Like the screenshot of Zero wearing the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the one.
Oh, that's what that is meant to imply.
And at least when it comes to Junpei, she was there for him.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. All right.
Okay.
Kitty,
That
isn't this kind of nice?
that is kind of helpful.
Actually,
I wish a lot more games did this.
right? I mean, like most games don't really need this much work because it's just
Yeah.
really straightforward.
But like story
Final
heavy
Fantasy VII
games.
could have fucking used this. Oof.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think there's one for VLR. I don't know if I read it. Or I don't know if there was one. But anyhow,
It's fine.
do you still have any more questions?
I think that actually answered. Although I still imagine a happy ending. I can make it work.
Oh, you can close your eyes and imagine it.
Yeah, she'll involve Junpei in her plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. He loves
Want to
her.
start playing VLR tomorrow?
Yeah, no. Yeah, we can't.
No, we can't.
No.
But wouldn't it be great if we did, though? Now we have another LP.
We have other ones
I was
to
saying
record
that
tomorrow.
just to.
Don't
I made the sign of a heart breaking.
don't look at me like that. Like I don't want to play VLR. But we have other
I know,
obligations.
but you're like, I can close my eyes and imagine the happiest endings.
Yep.
And I can imagine the happiest AUs.
Yep.
Where they live together in a house.
In a sitcom
And
house.
have a baby.
Yeah, no,
and Santa
everyone's
sleeps
there.
in the couch.
Yeah, and Ace is like the crazy uncle. Sometimes
Yeah.
goes a little off the walls and threatens to kill people, but it's fine.
Oof. Oof.
It's fine.
Hey, son, when are you gonna get a job, son? When are you gonna treat June right? You know, she's my daughter, don't you know, son?
But she's not your daughter.
Dad, Ace, Gentaro.
See, it's fine.
Yeah,
Sitcom
yeah.
house.
Everything's fine.
Everything's great. I am your other uncle.
Oh, I see. Ba-doom. See, it's funny because he's blind. And
Sitcom house. Sitcom house.
Anyhow, this video has gone on for way too long. They've been tagging along with Dango Duo.
Submit in the comments. That's the word I was looking for. How your sitcom house, your dream
Oh
sitcom house.
yeah. Let us know
with
about
these guys
your sitcom
would work
Yeah, totes.
with no spoilers for anything that's not
Oh,
999.
no, you're not allowed to look at the comments for this videos anyway. We hope that you
I
enjoyed.
answer all the comments, motherfucker.
Shh. Wow, someone's got an attitude today. Hey. We hope that you had a lot
just
of fun.
crushed my AU dreams. Of course I'm gonna have an attitude.
You know what? You're not. You can still have your AUs.
Yeah.
You can just close your eyes and ignore reality, as you do with all of your AUs.
Yeah. Harry and Draco loved each other.
Oh yeah.
They were kind of gay.
They were
Books,
kind
it's
of gay in the books.
It was a
really
little
were.
gay,
especially in the later books.
The 6th movie.
Yeah, that one's really gay.
Ooh, it feels good, man.
Anyhow, this video is way too long.
Stop my ships.
Hey. I hope that you enjoyed our 99 LP. It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was actually a blast. Also,
Cradle Pharmaceutical right there.
And
Hey, it was really fun.
it kind of looks like Zero's wearing the
Yeah, he's
that,
wearing the telly.
the monitor. That's the word.
We hope that you really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
We did.
It was a really great LP, and I'm really glad that you finally got to experience that game. Because I fucking love 999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you guys will go out and support it too, even though you've got this far and watched the LP.
And experience it, show it to your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
And go
buy the Steam re-release.
Or go buy VLR and freaking CTD.
Yeah.
ZTD.
You can also buy 999 and VLR together on Steam.
Yeah, on Steam. Yeah, it's called the Nonary Games bundle.
It's truly the Dark Souls of visual novels.
It is the Dark Souls of visual. You're not wrong. Anyhow, thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and we hope to see you
next LP
on the next one.